Hey everyone, today I'm going to be running you through a CSS Touring rooftop tent. This one here is a 1.3 model. We're just going to run through exactly what's included in the tent once you've purchased it, as well as some optional extras for them. This is exactly what you receive when it's shipped to you. You receive a solar power bank, a magnetic battery powered fan, as well as a telescopic wide platform ladder, an optional solar panel, and all the solar panel mounts. Alright guys, so this is how your tent will look straight out of the box. This one here is a 1.3, so the overall dimensions of this are 1330, not including the gas struts and the latches, 2100 long, and then the overall thickness of it is 180 mil. That isn't including any of the accessories, so if you're mounting a solar panel and roof racks and stuff on top of this, it will increase the thickness, and as well as the mounting rails, they're 25 mil thick. So we'll go over some of the features of the tent. This tent has a full blacked out look, so all the latches, all the gas struts, everything's all powder coated black. These tents themselves have 2 latches either side and then 2 at the front. They've got ladder access either side as well as the front as well. All right, now we'll get to opening the tent and showing you what's included inside. So you're going to pop all 4 of the latches. So what's included inside of these tents is you'll have your roof racks. We'll show you how to mount these on the outside later. Inside you will also have the CSS Touring shoe bags. These slide in these channels at the front of the tent here. You've also got a little manual on some of the details on the tent, a correct way to install it and whatnot, but we will run through all of that in this video. As well as that, we've got all the mounting hardware, comes in a nice little bag. We'll run through the correct way to mount and stuff later in the video. You've got a little bag here. These are all the poles included with the tent to open up this awning. Mounting hardware. You'll have 2 memory foam pillows that are included as well. As well as your own custom. Alright, so now we'll show you the correct way to install these rainfly poles. So as you can see on the base of them, they have a pressed flat section in them. The whole point of that is to give the poles a lot more stability in the wind. So there's 2 channels here. You've got to make sure the pole goes through both of them and then the flat section notches in there. Once it's in there, you can fold it up and just slide it through the, if it wasn't upside down, just go back to here. The thing was fucking upside down. So once it's keyed into both the channels there, you can just fold it up and place it through the eyelet on the canvas there. So you just repeat that process for all 4 poles, making sure you've got them the correct way up, through both the channels, then just out to the eyelet. So as you can see here, the reason for these offset rainfly poles here, if you had a big awning mounting on the side of this, you'd run into some clearance issues. So that's what this is for. So you can imagine if that goes in the keyway there, you now get that extra clearance for your awning or whatever's going to be mounted on the side of your car or your rooftop. So with the CSS Touring shoe bags that are included with the tents, they just slide in the lower channel here on the base of the tent here. The correct way to do it is you can see there's a round little rubber channel that's sewed to the bag. You can just slide that through there and the shoe bag can hang there nicely. So you just repeat the same thing with the other shoe bag. Now it's done. So you've got all different access. There's heaps of different pockets and stuff included in these, as well as some clips. So once they're full, you can make sure that they don't blow open. All right, so once you've got your power bank connected to the internal lights of the tent here, you'll see that there's two different switches here. Either one of these switches will control the two LED strips going around, so it'll give you two different brightnesses. So if I click them both off, you'll see all the lights are off in here. If I just click one, it'll put it on its first brightness, and then if you click the other one, it'll make it even brighter. All right, so now that we've got the tent open, we can run through some of the features of it. So all the fabric for the tent is 340 GSM. It's a blacked out material, so it helps a lot with the heat and the light inside the tent. On all the doors, you'll see that there's a fly screen as well as a canvas door itself. So you can open the fly screen, that'll fold out. There's two zips, one either side, and then it's the same with the canvas. So you can just fold those out. So now with the actual internals of the tent has an 80mm thick memory foam mattress. This also has a removable sheet, so you can rip this off and chuck it in the wash if you want. Underneath that is a condensation mat, and then underneath that is a marine carpet base layer. So this is what the ladder will look like straight out of the box. If you just undo the Velcro strap there, you can just simply pull up on the ladder, and each run will pop itself out into place, and then it's fully set up. To close the ladder down, you can see that these lock pins are located down the whole ladder. You simply need to start at the top, push the pins down, and you'll see the top run will start to collapse on itself. Then it's as simple as closing it back up with the Velcro strap, chucking it back in its bag and placing it wherever you want. So once you've opened it up, you can lift it up over here. You can see these are the latching points for the ladder. Make sure that it actually goes all the way into the keyway and you're not just leaning it against the tent. So once it's latched in there, you can slide it out. If this was actually on a vehicle, you can see that it will just pull itself out. Wing, wing, wing. All right, so with these ladders as well, as we mentioned earlier, there are the two latching points at the side of the tent here. Remember, always clip them in, don't just lean it up against the tent. Once this drops down, it gives you access to the side of the tent. This is really good if your vehicle's got a big rear barn door. Another really nice feature about these ladders is the wide platform here. This is really good for the people that are barefoot climbing in and out of the tent. All right, so another great feature about these tents is the top and the bottom piece of the shell are an insulated aluminium honeycomb, which is really good to keep the heat in or the heat out. So another great feature about these tents is this internal pocket organizer here. So these are pre-installed on the inside of your tent. It's got 6 different pockets here. The center one is a clear one, which is great for putting a tablet, an iPad, an iPhone, whatever you want on the inside here. So it gives you different things that you can do with it, like watch TV, watch Netflix, whatever you really want, which is nice for some of those long camping trips. Another great feature about the inside of the tents here is this ventilation mesh. So it's got some permanent fly screen here, and this little door you can just roll up and clip in the little hooks here. These are the 2 pillars that are included in the tent. They're great because they're memory foam, and at the same time they can live in the tent permanently as they fit with the tent closed. As well as that, you can leave a 2-person sleeping bag in here and it'll all close up and seal fine. If you pop your head down here, you can see that there is an Anderson plug here. That Anderson plug is directly wired into that entire power block there. So if you go from your auxiliary power that is existing on your vehicle, you can just simply run an Anderson plug up to this and it'll then put power on the inside here. So once all that auxiliary wiring is wired in, you can simply just flick the switch on this power block here and that'll then give power to all those points there. So there's 3 USB outlets, a USB-C outlet, a volt gauge, as well as a cigarette lighter. If that is not yet wired into your vehicle or you haven't wired that Anderson plug in, that's what this power bank's for. So this power bank will then let you power up your lights like we showed earlier. Inside the tent, you'll find 2 of these moisture absorbers. They're just placed inside the tent. They should be left in here at all times just to absorb any condensation that may form inside the tent. If this filter or if this condensation absorber changes color at all, it is a great idea to move this outside in the sun whilst the tent is airing out, and this will just dry this out in case there is any condensation and it has absorbed any moisture inside of it. All right, so one super important thing with these tents is just making sure that when you're closing the tent that you don't jam any of this canvas, the fly screens, any of the straps or anything in this rubber seal. So this rubber seal runs the perimeter of the entire lid, and it sandwiches down on the bottom aluminium channel here. So you've got to make sure when it's closing that you're just tucking everything in and making sure that nothing is going to interfere with this seal touching the bottom here. If it does, this may lead to some problems with the seal, and that's something we try and avoid. All right, so now that we've spoken about this whole sealing system, we'll show you the correct way to close the tent. So you pull all these poles out one by one. It's always best to pull them out at the top and don't even try and yank them off there. Once these are all out, you can just chuck them inside the tent. We recommend pushing or placing the pillows in the center of the tent. This just allows the pressure to be even along the seal. If you have tucked any of your doors in or your fly screens or anything, just make sure they're laid nice and even on the inside of the tent. One thing that's important to remember is if you do have any power connected, to make sure that you turn it off. And then lastly, remove your shoe bags. You can either place these back in your vehicle if you'd like, or you can put them inside the tent. Once everything's been placed nicely inside the tent, you can grab this rubber elastic that wraps the outside of the tent. Try and chuck this nice and tight over the rain fly. This will help suck everything in when you're closing it and just avoids getting pinched in that seal. So if your vehicle is high in the ground, there is also this strap that is included. I'll show you that as well. If you can't reach that handle, you can just yank down on this until you can grab the handle. Just pull it a little bit lower and then just go over and make sure that all this fabric is tucked in nicely. As like we mentioned before, it is really important that none of this is pinched in this seal, or it may interfere with the seal of the tent. So even this strap at the end here, just make sure none of that grabs. Tuck it in all nicely. Make sure your latches are out of the way. Just stretch them out open. Then as simple as just popping them down. Oh. One important thing to do, once this is all sealed up, just quickly pop your head around the tent. You can do this when the tent's up on the top of the vehicle, it doesn't matter that much. You just want to make sure that you can't see any fabric hanging out and that the seal's sandwiched correctly. All right, so now that we've run you through the inside of the tent, some of the great features that it's got, we'll now show you the correct way to set this up. So in terms of setting it up, you've got roof rails that you can install, as well as a solar panel. So firstly, you grab your roof rails, then inside this box here, you'll have all the mounting hardware that is included with the tent. All right, so these are the feet for the roof rack rails. We're going to place one here and another one here. What you will have to do is you're going to have to remove the bolts for this latch here, just so we can slide the channel nuts in, just to get them exactly where we want to position them. So inside the bag here, included with the tent, you have 4 end caps. These are just plastic end caps that you can knock in to these roof rails. They just seal them up nicely and just make them look nice and finished. So you can simply just push these in by hand, or if you've got a little rubber mallet or something, you can tap them in as well. So we just do that on both ends of the rails. Now those are in, we'll just pull these 4 feet out. These are the channel nuts we were talking about earlier. So these stainless steel channel nuts simply just slide in along this channel here. So you just chuck them in. They slide down along the channel. They don't only fit in one orientation. It doesn't really matter if they've got a back and a front. It doesn't matter which way they are as long as they fit in that channel, and you can slide them across. So this is the latch we were talking about earlier. You will have to remove those two Allen key bolts. The reason to remove those 2 bolts is we just need to get 2 more of these on this side of that channel, on this side of that latch, sorry, and that'll allow us to mount another rail here. You don't have to do this step if you're putting one roof rack here and one roof rack here, because you can just slide them in from the other end. The reason we're doing it like this is because we're actually going to be mounting our solar panel on this side. So when it comes to removing these 2 stainless steel Allen key dome nuts, if you jump into the mounting bag or the bag that comes with the tent, this will have all the mounting hardware as well as some install tools. As you can see, included is this 13mm ratchet spanner, as well as some mounting feet. These are for the clamps on the bottom rail, as well as this Allen key. So this Allen key here can be used to remove these 2 stainless steel dome screws. So just crack them loose. Once those are loose, simply just back them out. Once both of those are removed, you can simply just slide those 2 channel nuts further over, and then the 2 that we installed earlier will just slide back into those positions. So just get them lined up again. Once they're where you need them, simply just tighten the Allen keys back. Don't nip these up all the way yet, because you want to make sure that they're going to line up with the bottom part of this latch. Oop. So once they're loosely nipped up, just make sure that this latch here, once it's closed, is going to line up within this bottom mounting point. So once you've confirmed that it's going to line up with that, just simply open it up again, and then you can tighten these again. So once you've made sure that the latch is lining up with the bottom part of the latch, you can tighten these bolts down. It is important to note that these bolts, these latches actually have slots in those bolts there, so it gives you some adjustment within the latch, so you can actually adjust the seal. If you feel like your seal is not pinching down enough, you can adjust this, or if you feel like it's putting too much pressure on it, you can loosen them up a little bit as well. So now that we've got that lined up, we'll just simply go and tighten them down. Just make sure that this has actually got enough tension on it that it's squishing the seal nicely. Once we've confirmed that it's pushing the seal, we'll just go through and nip these up. You want to make sure that these are tight, otherwise they may rattle loose. Perfect. Once that's done, we'll grab two more of the channel nuts, and we'll just slide them in through this side of the channel again. Once they are in position, you can simply just grab the mounting feet for the bottom of the roof racks, as well as 2 of these stainless steel dome screws. It's a simple case of just lining up these 2 channels, or the 2 channel nuts, into the positions of the mounting rails. Once they're in there, you can simply just start them up. Another great feature about all the hardware has this Loctite that is already been put on all the hardware, so nothing needs to be done, and it will help with all those vibrations. So once those have started, it is important to just nip them up again. Of course, we don't want them to be super tight, because we want to make sure that once we're putting the top rails on, that we can put them on straight. So once that's loosely fitted, we'll just repeat the same step with this foot here. So we'll just grab another one of the mounting feet, 2 more of the pieces of hardware that's included, and we'll just screw them in. So once that one's started, if you do start it, you can just slide it around, get it to line up with the other bolt. Once that's started, you can kind of pick where you want this to be. Before we tighten them down, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So it's the same case. we'll just grab all the channel nuts. We'll grab all the stainless hardware, as well as the 2 mounting feet, and we'll just replicate the same thing on the other side. All right, so now I've just replicated that on the other side. We've got both these mounting rails just loosely bolted down. Now it's just as simple as grabbing the roof racks. You'll see that there's pre-drilled holes in all of these. Those holes simply line up with the tops of these mounting feet. Simply just place it on top. You can grab some more of the stainless steel hardware that is included. You just drop them down. Just make sure they're sitting straight. Drop 2 of them there. The same process on the other side. Once those are all dropped in, they've got some small stainless steel nuts. This is just a simple case of chucking your fingers under there and just spinning them on. And you just grab a screwdriver, do the same thing, just spin them on, get them all started, do the same thing down this end. Once all 4 of them are in, you can go back over them, make sure that they're sitting nice and straight, and then you can just tighten these up. Now those are tight. You can slide this top rail where you want it on the tent. That's completely up to your own preference. And it's simply just grabbing this Allen key again and just tightening it down. And just eyeball it, make sure it's sitting straight. And just do the same thing on this side. And just like that, you've installed one of the rails. So now we'll just repeat the process on this one. You will find that there is a little bit of leftover hardware. This is all just spare hardware in case you've dropped or lost anything during the process of it. It's good to keep this just throughout the whole process of installing the tent, just in case you need it for anything else. All right, so now we'll show you the correct way to install the solar panels. These are the solar panel mounts. These will come with your tents, like we explained earlier. Simply open the packaging. These mounts will then pull out. Now pop these open and have a look at them. So they're really nice design, super clean. These simply just mount on the side of the tent into the same channel that we put those roof rails into. So just open these up, get them both out of here. This is all the hardware they come with. So once again, it's the same thing as before. They come with all the channel nuts and stainless steel domes. So simply just lay that down, grab your knife again, just pop it open. So this is the factory Anderson plug connection that comes with these solar panels. So this can just be wired into your existing 12 volt system that you've got on your 4-wheel drive. So a nice Anderson plug. They've got positive and negatives, as they all do. These are a 220 watt solar panel. All the information and specs and everything about them is on there. Then when it comes to mounting these side rails on, we recommend leaving the cardboard under it if you're doing it on your tent like this. Simply remove the plastic protection film along the side of it. It's probably easier if you've got two hands. So once you've unpackaged the solar panel, simply just grab the mount. This will just sit on the side there. You can see it lines up with the holes that are already pre-drilled into the solar panel and the mounts. So there's two different types of nuts that come with these. There's a nylock as well as a stainless steel channel nut. So it's very important to note that when you're installing them on the solar panel here, to use this nylock. So it's simply just slide that under. That'll then line up with that hole. You drop that down. You grab one of the stainless steel dome nuts. This has some thread locker on it as well. And you simply just push that down and get it started. Once that's started, you can do the same thing. Once again, make sure it's a nylock, not a channel nut. Slide that under. Make sure it's the right way out. Then grab your stainless steel dome and thread that in. So it's important to note as well, all the holes on all the mounts here, they're all slotted. So it gives you a lot of adjustment in them. The bracket has slots this way and the solar panel has slots that way. So now that those two are in, we'll just do the same on this back end here. So it's a simple case of chucking your nylock down, holding that in place, and then spinning your dome on. Do the same thing. A thing to note as well, the way that these nylocks work is you have to put the nylon on the outside, as in facing down, so you can actually start the thread with this bolt. If it is the other way around, you'll never actually be able to start it. You might be able to, but it'll be very difficult. So simply chuck that with the nylock face down, line them up, just spin those in. Once they're in there, you'll just grab your Allen key that we had. We'll slide these brackets all the way out on these slots that were here. At the same time, you'll need to grab the ratchet spanner that was included in the mounting kit. Just pull this out. This is a 13mm. It's a nice ratcheting spanner as well. Simply chuck that underneath on the nylock. Chuck the Allen key on top and just tighten it. Like we mentioned before with the slots, just make sure that that slot is pulled all the way out. That'll just give you the best alignment on the tent. If you find that that isn't aligning it properly, you can always just flip it, sit it on the tent, and then adjust it. Just tighten all these up. Ooh. Alright, so now we've just finished installing this mounting rail along the side here. Once again, just put all the nylocks in, all the dome bolts, make sure everything's tight. Once that's done, you can simply just slide the solar panel forward. Just roll it over, just be careful with the solar panel. While it's still on the cardboard, you can just shimmy it forward. And then this will simply just roll over onto your rooftop and sits in place there. One thing you will have to do, just there will be the Anderson plug, wherever that's sitting. Just pull that out the side. Just so it doesn't get sandwiched underneath. Now once that's in position, grab the stainless steel channel nuts again. Just need 6 of these per side. So just grab 6 of them. Grab your Allen key as well. Simply just lift the tent up a little bit. Just shimmy it over. You just grab these and you slide them in. Sometimes there can be a little bit of excess silicone in the groove there. It's as simple as just grabbing your Allen key and just pushing them through. So now they'll all be able to slide in there. Once you've done it the first time, you shouldn't have any problems. So now you just want to line these up with the 2 mounting holes in your solar panel. It's a good idea to sit your solar panel where you actually want it to sit, and you can just eyeball vertically down where these are going to be. Once they're in position, we'll just do the same thing on the other side. So you just grab your 6 channel nuts again, and we'll do the same thing this side. So it's simply just... Alright, so as you can see here, we've finished up this solar panel. It's important, like we've stated before, just go over, make sure all your bolts are tight. It's a pretty straightforward install. Now we'll just move on to the tent's mounting rails themselves. So as you can see under here, they've got these aluminium extrusions. These are bolted to the CSS tent already. These come from the factory like that. So what you'll have to do, you'll have to open up the little mounting bag, or the bag with all your mounting hardware. You'll get a whole bunch of these channel washers, as well as some stainless hardware, as well as some stainless steel washers and some nylocks. There's a lot more of that in this bag, that's just for example. Alright, so firstly you'll have to remove these rubber end caps. That's a simple case of just putting your finger in there and pulling them out. If those aren't in there already, they'll be in this mounting bag. They're just they're good to chuck in it. They're just good to chuck in after. Alright, so then you grab these channel washers. You simply just drop your hardware through them. You'll see they'll key in there nicely so they don't actually spin. And then that just simply slides in this channel here. So it's a simple case of just lining up all those keyways and everything, and that'll just slide in. So you do that twice. So just for an example, that there is one mounting point. You can then now grab these lower clamps. These have a nice rubberized coating on them so they won't scratch and dent and chip your roof racks or whatever you're mounting to. It's simply now just slide these to the spacings that you need. Then you would just grab a stainless steel washer. It's very important to put those washers on, and then a nylock. Simply wind that up, and then you just do the same on the other side. And that's now your mounting clamp. So now you can imagine that your roof rack is going to be in this position here. It's a simple case of just tightening these nylocks until it slides up there. And once that has actually sandwiched on your roof rack, you simply go just pick up your rubber caps again, and you can just push these straight back into position. So once they're lined up, that's nice and sealed off. It finishes them off really nicely, and it also helps with any wind whistle or anything that may be caused from pushing through them. At the same time, you may realise that there is this plastic film on the bottom of the tent here. This is just here to protect the tent from any scratches and stuff in the assembly stage. If you'd like, it's a simple case of just grabbing your fingers under it, and you can just run down and pull it out. Note that it's a good idea to remove this plastic lining before you lift it up onto your roof, because you're not going to have it. You're not going to be able to get it off once you're sandwiched in between your roof rack. You don't have to remove this either. It's just a good idea to remove it. Alright, so now that all the assembly and install is complete, we'll just open it up and we'll give you a full look at the tent. These tents are identical apart from the width. So this is a 1.3, it's 1330 wide, and then the 1.4 is 1450 wide. When it comes to the inside of these tents, the inside dimensions of these are, they're both 2 meters long in terms of the overall usable space on the inside. The 1.3 is 1200 wide, and then the 1.4 is 1370 wide on the inside. All right, for any of those customers that are curious if you can mount awnings or shower awnings on the side of these tents, there's a company called TDA Customs. They make custom aluminium brackets to suit these dual channel tents. We will put their website link in the bio for anybody that's curious about them. Now that we've completed the rundown of the tent and gone through exactly what's included with it, it's very important to note that the CSS Touring tent itself comes with a 24-month warranty. If you'd like to come and see one of these tents in person, we have a warehouse down in West Melbourne as well as South Brisbane. If you'd like to know any of the details on our opening hours, availability, addresses and stuff, everything's available on our socials. Well, that concludes our rundown of the tent. Thanks for watching. If you do have any questions or any more information you'd like to know, please feel free to reach out and we'll hopefully see you on the trails.